Week in Review. Israel's Prime Minister joins the push for Jonathan Pollard's release. As 2011 gets rolling, what do Jewish organizational leaders think it will bring? A cheeky take on Israeli labor standards and more of the Jewish news that's changing your world right now on this episode of the Week in Review. Hello, and welcome to the Jewish Channel's Week in Review. I'm Stephen I. Weiss. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is using the Jewish state's bargaining position to ask for clemency for imprisoned Jewish spy Jonathan Pollard. In a letter to President Barack Obama, Netanyahu wrote about Pollard, a former U.S. Navy analyst who shared American secrets with Israelis and has been in prison since 1985. Pollard's actions are alleged to have caused harm to U.S. interests and possibly to the deaths of 2 American intelligence personnel. But many in the Jewish community and elsewhere have called for Pollard's release, as his nearly 25 years in prison are far more than have been served by any American caught spying for a U.S. ally. Part of the reason Pollard remains imprisoned is that he has not applied for parole, a process which requires certain admissions of guilt and expression of remorse. However, Pollard is due to receive a mandatory parole hearing upon reaching 25 years in prison. Meanwhile, Israel is developing its own idea of what treason could be. The Knesset has voted for an investigation of left-wing Israeli organizations that criticize the Israeli military's actions. Part of the goal of the investigation will be to determine whether such organizations are funded by foreign countries or other groups that have links to terrorist activities. More than a dozen Israeli organizations likely to be the targets of the investigations released a statement welcoming the inquiry and declaring they have nothing to hide. But while that investigation is dealing solely with allegations, the same can't be said for former Israeli President Moshe Katsav, who was convicted on multiple counts of sexual assault last week for raping, sexually abusing, and harassing 3 former female employees while in positions of power, ranging from Minister of Tourism to President of Israel. Women's advocates in Israel are hailing the verdict as a sign of change in Israeli culture that is often described as male-dominated. Another indication of societal change in Israel is discussion of the status of ultra-Orthodox men who don't work for a living, but subsist off of stipends and donations for engaging in Torah studies. The issue has come up recently in major American newspapers, and Israel's Minister of Industry, Trade and Labor recently said that the ultra-Orthodox need to be, quote, forced to work. Israel's version of conservative Judaism, the Masorti movement, is also getting in on the discussions with an advertising campaign, producing images like you see here that contains the famous statement from Ethics of the Fathers, Kol Torah she'ein ima malacha, sofa batala v'goreret avon. Any Torah that is not accompanied by work will end in waste and bring about sin. But while Israel has many issues to debate in the coming year, what is anticipated for Jews here in the United States? Rebecca Honig-Friedman pursued exclusive interviews with several organizational leaders to get their perspective.
With 2011 starting up, where are the organizations serving the American Jewish community headed? TJC asked the leaders of Jewish nonprofits from different sectors to do some soul-searching, taking stock of 2010 and looking ahead to the coming year. From Jerry Silverman of the Jewish Federations of North America, Elise Bernhardt of the Foundation for Jewish Culture, Alan Finkelstein of the Jewish Community Center Association, and Simon Greer of Jewish Funds for Justice, we heard a story of a Jewish organizational world in flux, searching for new and sustainable ways to serve the changing needs of the Jewish community and the organizations themselves.
And the last 2 years have been, for me, the most painful and the most changing, I guess, of my career, because I thought we were coasting along pretty well, but so did everybody in America.
These are the difficulties facing the JCCA, the umbrella organization for the JCCs of North America, at the same time as it's trying to address existential questions. The JCCA was particularly hard hit financially in the last 2 years by the economic downturn in general and by investments with Bernie Madoff in particular. But Finkelstein said the losses have led to necessary self-reflection about how to reduce the cost of Jewish living.
I think we just overbuilt Jewish institutions, too many buildings, too many agencies, and as a result we've had to maintain the infrastructure for all of them. It's been a tremendous challenge for federations all over, and they can't do it anymore. So we're looking at, how can we make more sense out of the structure of the Jewish community?
But Jewish Federations of North America's president, Jerry Silverman, didn't seem as concerned about the financial future of the federation system.
Not only are we stabilizing our resources, we're also thinking smarter in how best to utilize those resources in order to deliver a better ROI for the Jewish community and for the Jewish future. There's an inordinate number of new things going on all over the communities across North America. It's an exciting time.
It's been an exciting year for the smaller, niche-focused organizations we spoke to as well. Despite the economic downturn, the Foundation for Jewish Culture, a 50-year-old organization that funds Jewish studies scholars, documentary film, and artists working with Jewish ideas, is launching 2 new major programs, a new Jewish music initiative and an American Academy in Jerusalem. Elise Bernhardt, the Foundation's president and CEO, explained the organization's funding strategy.
We've narrowed our focus since I got here in 2006, and we're really focusing on individuals. We're focusing on individual artists and individual scholars, and it's great to have lots of museums and lots of JCCs and all of that, but if you don't have people, contemporaries, making work of the highest quality, then what's the point? So that's what we really focus on, is, you know, how do we find the best, identify the best, support the best, and really help them to be known and get out into the world. So that's what we do.
And from continuing Jewish culture, there are moral lessons to be drawn, and that's where Jewish Funds for Justice, or JFSJ, comes in. The 25-year-old organization's mission is
to ensure that economic justice, economic opportunity is widely shared in American society. And we do that from the basis of Jewish values and tradition.
Echoing Finkelstein's concerns about overgrown institutions and Bernhardt's focus on specificity, JFSJ's president and CEO, Simon Greer, emphasized that the economic downturn could be seen as a chance for new collaborative opportunities.
More people want to partner and do things together. The idea that in this economy everyone can't do everything, so you have to specialize and maybe even let other groups grow in certain areas where you back away so you can focus on your real core business. It's just made for a very dynamic sector and a really exciting year.
To hear more from these Jewish organizational leaders, tune into the full broadcast version of the Week in Review.
Thank you, Rebecca. That's all for this week. From all of us here at the Jewish Channel, be well. The Jewish Channel is available on cable. Optimum Cable Channel 291, Time Warner Cable Channel 528, RCN Channel 268, Verizon Fios Channel 900, and Cox Cable Channel 1. For more information, visit tjctv.com.